It was very early in my career. This girl had an accident, and there's a vehicle, a tractor had gone on her face. And she was completely, disfigured. And then when she came into me, she had actually told me that I haven't seen myself in the last 1 year. I actually did some lasers for her and then did a little bit of volumizer on the face, a tiny what we call as a filler. And then her whole life changed. And it was not just physical. It was a whole lot of mental and, she had more confidence. Today she's married. She actually has children. She lives her life as a normal person. Things that we do can change lives dramatically if we do them right.
This field, like we said, is evolving very fast. So how do you evolve?
We're not handling a machine. We're handling humans. And we really have the knowledge and the science to do it right. And I tell my patients one thing, and I tell everybody this, okay? I have to sleep well at night, okay? Come what may. So there's nothing that I want to do that will take away my sleep. And after a while, you have all the bags, you have all the car that you want to buy. Well, what you essentially want to do is have the calm and peace and sleep well. And that'll happen if you do things right, okay? Not try and cut corners.
In a city where skyscrapers touch the cloud and luxury is a way of life, there is another transformation that is happening that is far more personal and intimate. Dubai has earned the title Beverly Hills of Middle East, not just for the glamour, but becoming one of the world's leading destination for medical aesthetics. Behind every glowing complexion, every restored confidence, there is science, artistry, and years of experience. Today, we're sitting with Dr. Mansi Mukherjee. She embodies all the three qualities above. With over 20 plus years of experience, she's not just a dermatologist, but she's a healer, an innovator, and voice of the industry. Dr. Mansi, thank you so much for being here. Welcome to Beyond Titles. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Suraj, for having me here.
Okay, thanks. So let's go to the start. Where did you start with? How did medicine happen? Why, skincare? I'm trying to assume 20 years back or 25 years back, what you're doing today versus what you were doing that time would be a huge difference in this industry, right?
Absolutely. It's funny, I have to tell you. I was literally, I think in second grade, I remember. And I just had this doctor's kit, there used to be this chota sa doctor's kit. Yes. And my parents got that for me. And I was playing around with it. And that is the time I told my parents, I want to be a doctor.
Oh, so you're so sure.
And my grandfather is a doctor, was a doctor. However, that I don't think that is where it came in from. It was just the fact that I just wanted to be a doctor and I liked the whole concept. And then I followed it through. And you won't believe that post class 12th grade, when I actually wrote the exam and told my dad, I want to now be a doctor. And he said, are you crazy? You're going to work one night, your husband is going to work one night. What are you going to do in life? And I said, how can you say that? Don't be a doctor. Let me write the exam once. If I clear it, I clear it. If I don't, then we just do what we do. And thankfully, I cleared it. And medicine is really my calling. And when it comes to dermatology, also it was very funny. So we go through our rotation. After we finish medicine, we go through our rotation. And it's really an elimination thing. So, I wanted to eliminate what I didn't want to do. But when I went into dermatology, and really at that time, there was no Botox, there was no fillers. It was, but it wasn't in India really. And we weren't doing any of that. And it was predominantly just dermatology. But I loved the fact that it had a medical aspect to it. But it also had a surgical aspect to it. That was not like a full day in surgery, but I could do these minor dermatological surgical procedures. So I said it's a great marriage where I basically do, medical as well as surgical dermatology. And that's why I chose it. And at that time, like I said, there wasn't any of this. And it's really, really changed and how it's evolved. And what I'm doing today, a lot of it has been a lot of learning over the last 20, 25 years as well.
I'm sure, yeah. I was reading about this story where a woman had said that she had not looked herself in the mirror for a year after some accident, and you had treated her, and then can you just narrate what happened, how the whole thing?
It was heartrending. This girl, I was very early in my career. This girl had an accident, and there's a vehicle, a tractor had gone on her face, and she was completely disfigured. And then she went through a whole lot of surgeries and a whole lot of plastic surgery, surgical procedures and different kinds. So which had kind of treated her, but there was no volume on one side of the face, if you see it. And she had a lot of scarring. And then when she came into me, she had actually told me that I haven't seen myself in the last 1 year. I mean, I don't want to look at myself. And then I actually did some lasers for her, and then did a little bit of, a little volumizer on the face, a tiny, what we call as a filler, which can really be life changing. And she was so, she just, her whole life changed. And it was not just physical, it was a whole lot of mental, and she had more confidence. Today she's married, she actually has children, she lives her life as a normal person, right? Maybe those scars haven't completely gone away, but she's much better. And really, the things that we do can change lives dramatically if we do them right. Yeah.
I'm sure. I'm sure. I
Yeah.
mean,
It's really beautiful, and it's I think all of this goodwill that we get and we carry with ourselves just makes us more positive and wants to do more of these things. Yeah.
this field, like we said, is evolving very fast. I mean, so how do you evolve with the field? I mean, I know it's a lot of learning, but
Yeah.
you open something and then new something comes up, new surgery comes up,
Yeah.
new treatment comes up. So how do you evolve with it? And people who want to get into this, what would you recommend the doctors? I mean, since you are very experienced, young doctors, what would you tell them?
If you have to get into the field, you do it right. And, my advice to the younger generation, and this generation, I mean, I have a 22-year-old daughter and a 19-year-old son. So I know how this generation is. Everything needs to be quick, okay? There has to be an instant gratification for everything. But we have to know that medicine is slow and steady, right? So you do it right, you learn it the right manner. If you don't learn it right, then you earn easy money, but you don't really get the goodwill and the positive vibes of the whole profession. So learn right and do it right. And really, it is really evolving. This field is really, really evolving. And every single day, I spend a lot of time reading, okay? And I try and keep abreast. There's a whole lot of medical journals I
Yeah,
read.
I'm
I
sure.
keep abreast
All
with what is
doctors
happening.
need to actually into
Yes,
this thing.
absolutely. So it's constant reading, and I train. So I basically train doctors all across the world. So it's just a passion, and I love to kind of read and learn more and more, and that's what is, it just keeps it going. Having said that, there's a lot of misinformation, Suraj, lot of it, okay? So there are a lot of products that are coming in from different parts of the world. A lot of them are now not tried, tested. So even to the younger generation, doctors that I train, I tell them it's so important that we figure out the right science behind the product. We just don't take it and use it because somebody said that it's going to lift the face and it's going to do this. Because every product that comes into my clinic from something that's new tells me that this will lift the face. But then everybody walking on the street should look the same, right? But that's not
That
really
doesn't
the
happen.
case, right? So you have to go behind, where has this product come from? Is it really been tested? Has there been trials done on it on a larger population? So what is the science? Eventually, we are doctors, we are physicians, and physicians have to do it right. Okay, we're not handling a machine, we are handling humans, and we have to really have the knowledge and the science to do it right.
And products react differently to different people, right? It could be that also is there.
Absolutely. Different people react absolutely, which is why there's no one size fits all. Right? So what I do on one, I can't just, copy paste and do it in 10 other people. Everybody's skin is different. Yes, there is a similarity to an extent, okay? But then the doctor has to really identify what is right and do it in that right manner. So it is never one size fits all, and no single product is good for everybody.
And even like in Dubai, you would have people who are Emiratis who would be coming to you. There will be a lot of expat population coming to you. How do you learn or evolve how a product will react to a certain face or a certain person? How does that happen?
And
Is it
it's a
science or is it a trial and error as well?
no. There is a science to it, okay? And it's such a beautiful question. I have to tell you, I practiced a lot of years in India. So I became a dermatologist in 2002. So I was in India till about 2016. And although I'm a North Indian, I actually practiced in South India. And I have to tell you, that really taught me a lot. Because North Indian skin is so different from a South Indian skin, right? And I really had to learn my way across how to treat a South Indian skin. But essentially, medically, there are 6 skin types, okay, which we call as Fitzpatrick skin types. Now, these typically divide the skin types into, whether they burn on exposure to the sun or they tan on exposure to the sun. And there's like a range of all those things. So now, when I actually treated a completely different population, I learned a lot about treating darker skin type as well, and using a lot of technologies and lasers on that skin type, which again, you have to be careful about. Okay. But when I came into Dubai, I had, this is like the melting point of the world. So I have literally treated people from every, country
Every country in
possible.
the world, yeah. I
There are
mean, you
some
have
days
hundreds of nationalities out
there
here.
are some days that I actually have treated 10 nationalities in one day. And it's beautiful, okay? Because it allows you to learn a lot. Now, for example, the European skin, which is very fair skin, could really burn on exposure to the sun. But I could actually use devices which I can't use on a darker skin type. Right? So, darker skin types are always more difficult to treat than fairer skin types. Okay? But this is like a layman term, I would really tell you, though it's not darker and fairer, really. So, having said that, because I had that experience with the type 4 5 skin, which is the darker skin type, it really actually helped me understand. But also the facial structure is different. Skulls are different, right? How so essentially your face is like a house or a sofa. There's a foundation to it, and then there's fat on top of it, and then there's skin on
You'll
top of it.
see all these before you would do a treatment.
Exactly. So, the facial structure really is very different in a Southeast Asian versus an African versus a European versus an Indian, right? And which is why you have to really know that science, and you should have read. So, there's a lot of anthropology studies that I have read. Okay, so you have to understand the facial structure. Then there are societal norms. So there are aspects of beauty that you like, right? So, for example, an Indian may want a particular form of a cheekbone, right, or a fuller face, as against a European who may just want a higher cheekbone, right? So it's not I can't just make them all look alike. So you have to understand the different aspects of beauty, and then tailor it to that treatment for that person, and also what other patients needs, right? So a person, so for example, may be very, very beautiful, okay, and really so beautiful, but absolutely unapproachable when a person looks at her. And I have sometimes very,
What do you
very
mean by that? Sorry.
so sometimes you see a person who's really beautiful, but you're scared of going and saying hello to that person. And that I have such people who actually come and say that, who are actually not confident about themselves despite being really beautiful.
Oh, is it?
Because they feel they are unapproachable. So when you look at a person,
This is like the first
and
time I've heard this.
within a few seconds, Suraj, you look at a person and you talk to a person, and whether you like a person or dislike a person, it's a very few seconds game, right? Whether I can go and ask directions to this person or this person, right? Isn't it true? And
100%.
and it's actually how that person looks is how we perceive as well, right? So when we are treating, it's a dynamic face. We are showing our expressions, right? So it's also important not to treat that static face. Somebody may look great when they are actually completely static, but when they smile, do they actually look approachable? Do they look normal, right? Is also very important. So all of these parts are actually a part of when you're treating an individual.
Wow. This was like totally
Yeah.
new for me, the whole thing you said. You spoke about dark skin and fair skin. Do you still, in today's world, have people, let's say, with a darker skin coming to you to become fairer? Is it still very common? I know it's very controversial in terms of to talk about it, but is it the truth? Or
It's it's very, very funny, I have to tell you, okay? And I get asked this question so many times, but I have to tell you. So again, back home in India, okay, there was a time that people wanted fairer skin.
Yeah.
I know it's changing right now.
we had creams only coming to make you
Exactly. And I
fair.
know it's changing right now, and people, want a healthier skin, but there is that undertone still, right? But then I see a whole lot of these Europeans who are really fair skin, okay? And they are going out and sitting at the beach and using a whole lot of tanning lotions
that
on
they
themselves,
become-
so they actually become darker. And there are such lovely friends that I have, and they told me that they grew up so uncomfortable with their pale skin, so uncomfortable, that and that they're really gorgeous, but they actually thought that they didn't like their skin type and they wanted to be darker, and they love the Indian skin type. So do you understand? So I always say, and it's funny, that the grass is greener on the
the other
opposite
side
side.
always.
Okay, but essentially, I think it's very important for us to know we are born with a particular amount of melanin content. Okay, it's of course based on the race or the area that you're born with, but it's also dependent on the sun exposure. So, for example, if there's a lot of sun exposure, you're closer to the equator. Essentially, we've evolved in a manner that we have more melanin, which actually protects us. So we are born with a particular amount of melanin. I don't think we should fight it. Having said that, with constant changes of sun exposure, environmental changes, body changes, sometimes we get uneven skin tones, right? So some areas are lighter and some areas are darker because of some medical issues, possibly, right? So that can be treated, okay? But what is not right is saying that I want to be fairer. And in fact, I tell all of my European friends as well, the amount of tanning lotions that they're using and the amount of time they're spending on in the sun. I mean, when they are 35 and 40, they'll have to spend that much money to improve their skin, because that UV light that is actually making their skin darker is actually also destroying their skin completely. Right? Because it's causing far more collagen and elastin breakdown as well. So it's actually making you
That's why I
older
think so.
as well.
In Europe or somewhere, you see skin having.
Yes, and
I
that's
mean,
because of sun exposure, right? So essentially, I really think that we've raised a generation that just wants to look at another person and wants to be like that other person, but that's not what is true. I mean, you have an individuality, and a lot of times, okay, and this is also very interesting. I have to tell you, when patients come into me, if they're coming into a clinic like mine, okay, they're coming in with some issue in their brain, right? I mean, on their face, right? That in their brain they think is not right for them.
correct.
And I actually start the conversation with, okay, look at yourself. Tell me what you like about yourself. Tell me, do you ever think of this, okay? That when I look at you, I see good things about you, yeah? That, okay, Suraj is handsome, Suraj has this, right? But when you look at yourself, okay, in the mirror,
We
you
see
only see
negatively.
your flaws.
Yeah.
You never see the positives about yourself. Is that not true?
Yeah, yeah.
Right? And I think it's the
But that's
same
natural, I
with
think so.
every patient. So this patient comes and tells me, Dr. Mansi, I love your skin. Okay, look at how you're glowing. Why can't I look like you? And my first answer to that is, that's because you can't look at yourself. Okay, and you just in your mind think that you're not looking as lovely as the person in front of you. So a lot of times I give them the mirror and I tell them, okay, now count 3 things that you like about yourself. Okay, at least start seeing those things every day, that you like your smile, you like your eyes. There are definitely some things that you like about yourself. Can we place them above what you don't like about yourself? Right? So I think it's just human nature. That's it, and it's our responsibility. And aesthetic dermatologist. I'm essentially a core dermatologist, but with aesthetics, I really think there's a lot of you have to be a 50% psychologist,
But do you think
right?
that really happens that a doctor in today's time, would first not talk about the business aspect of getting business, right? That's the harsh reality of today, and would say, okay, what are the good things about you? No, you should not get this done. Rather than they will always be, no, you get this done.
No. I really think that's where we can change. See, this field has evolved so beautifully, okay? And we're really changing people's life and not only helping physical but mental well being as well, okay? And if we have to continue doing this right, we have to say no. We have to do what is right. And that is medical ethics, okay? That's the oath that we've taken. And we have to do it right. And I tell my patients one thing, and I tell everybody this, okay? I have to sleep well at night, okay, come what may. So there's nothing that I want to do that will take away my sleep. And I mean, after a while, you have all the bags, you have all the, the car that you want to buy. But you know what you essentially want to do is have the calm and peace and sleep well, have your reputation there. And that will happen if you do things right, okay? Not try and cut corners. And if we have to get the generation that is growing up, and there are kids as well. I mean, my daughter's 22, right? My son is 19. I know that they also eventually will possibly have this in their hearts as well, right? So we have to make them confident, right? We have to tell them what's good about themselves. And yes, there are some tweaks that may be required, okay? But it's that the selling bit of this industry has to reduce. I would really say that.
I
I
think so,
mean,
but
that's what I feel in my heart, and that's medical ethics, yeah.
you've been with the brand for a very very long time, 20 years plus, and suddenly you make a switch. Why was that? I mean, and that was first you were in India, then you came to Dubai, and then
Yeah.
you made switch. What made you switch? And how did your day look like there, and how does your day look like here? I mean, what have you evolved into?
So, I mean, I have to say, I mean, I was with a particular brand for 21 years, and I was in India most of the times, in the last 10 years, in 9 years in Dubai with them. And I've learned a lot, and they've really, really taught me a lot, okay? However, you have to know that, there was a little bit of a culture change. And medical ethics are very, very close to my heart. I centric approach is what I work on all the time. I mean, if my patient has to not only look good but feel good about themselves and go out confident with whatever they have, right? And if I'm in that position and I'm a doctor, I have to do what I do right. And I think that's where I felt a little bit of a switch coming in with a few changes in the last couple of months. So I then decided to choose a place where this would be first, the right products would be used. I mean, I didn't want to go every day to clinic thinking there's a target on my head. Truly,
But
okay?
that's become a truth thing, right? We see
Yes,
this
I don't
that
want that.
doctors are given targets, doctor to either get tests done, to either put in some treatment, and that's a harsh reality, correct?
Yeah.
I mean,
And that is true. I know now that you say that out, okay. I don't know if I should say this, but I will. You know, my son wants to be a doctor. He's going to do medicine. And and when said, I want to be a doctor, I actually asked him, why do you want to be a doctor? Okay, and both his parents are doctors. Okay, so essentially it just comes from there. But I told him, why do you want to be a doctor? And he says, come on, why are you asking me why I want to be a doctor? I want to be a doctor. And I said, you have to know that the harsh reality of today is that medicine is a business. Okay,
correct.
and there might be an MBA sitting on top of you telling you make money,
Money.
and there might be a quack sitting on the other side saying this doctor is doing nothing, I can do it for less, right? So you're really in your ethics caught in the middle. So you have to remember that you still have to do what you think is right. So if you're going to be a doctor, you have to have those ethics to drive it, and you have to inculcate them very early in your career, right? And money is hygiene. You have to, I mean, to do anything further, you need the money. But then you have to know that this is what I do right and this is what I earn out of it. And essentially, if you do things right, money will come. So that is how it is. It is a medical business. For the people who are running it, it is a business, right? But then as doctors, if we do it right, I just think money will come. Yeah.
What about Dubai? I mean, we're reading it's called the Beverly Hills of Middle East. What do you think is fueling this? I would say this boom. Is it technology? Is it culture? Is it the whole expat population out here? What is it that's really fueling this? I was reading somewhere they're like just 5,000 plus aesthetic clinics in such a small city. I mean, population. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, what is it?
I think it's the vibes of the city. First of all, the city is so beautiful. Okay, it's perfect in many ways, right? And there are people from different parts of the world here. There's a lot of social media influence here. Okay, and people come in from different parts of the world to actually earn and make a living. Okay, and they're high pressure jobs at times as well. So everybody really essentially wants to feel good and look good. And if there's a particular, and beauty is inherently a part of women, you have to know. And having said that, you have to know also men. It's just that men don't walk in so easily, but it's also men. So in this region, with the extensive social media influence and the cultural interchange that happens, okay, I also think that's the reason that it's also fueling it. Plus, there's some bit of disposable income, right? So
Hi.
there is a high disposable income in even younger population, and they want to spend it on themselves. So it's not like the older times where we would say, okay, we are
Save
saving
it.
this money, we save it for tomorrow. Now, if you look at this younger generation, they've gone through COVID, they've gone through wars, they've actually seen so much, right? That they don't know what's coming tomorrow, so they want to live for today. So rather than spending on different parts of materialistic things, at times they want to spend it on
But did you
themselves.
see a
They want to be healthier, they want to be good looking.
But did you
Sorry.
see a sorry? Did you see a curve after COVID, or it started fueling because you've been in Dubai before COVID as well? So
It was also before Dubai. That's true. But after COVID, so there was a lull during COVID, but then after that there was a boom again. Right? So when I see a lot of younger generation coming in, and there's this whole thing of prejuvenation. See, we're living longer. Okay? So we're living longer. You want to be not only physically healthy, but you want to feel good about yourself, right? So you want to actually prevent aging. So this younger generation is really in this aspect of, I want to prevent aging. Okay, I don't want to look the way so and so looks at age of 40. I want to actually prevent what I can. So I think that is also fueling a lot. Plus, doctors from all across the world are coming and settling down here, okay? And they're marketing as well. So there's a whole lot of marketing that's also happening. So I think it's just smart marketing as well.
So it's also a lot of mental game, right? I think so. When people go for treatments, do you think they get treated mentally as well, or get mentally positive about it, and that gets a lot of change as well in them when people come?
If you spend the right amount of time and you mentally actually talk to them about it. See, a lot of times, like I had this beautiful girl, okay, she had flawless skin but one mole on her face, okay, and she would come and tell me, Dr. Mansi, remove this for me, Dr. Mansi, remove this for me. And I would tell her, no, it looks good on you. Why is it that you want to remove it? No, I hate it. Every time I look into the mirror, I only see the mole. Okay. So it is a mental game. That mole is not so much on her face, it's a teeny tiny thing. Okay. But it's in her brain, right? So when you feed on it all the time, it kind of just sits on you.
And you forget seeing a beautiful face.
You forget seeing everything else. And that's where we have to move that needle to what do you see that's good on you. Okay. Because there are some things we can treat, some things we can't. Right. And we have to know, even as doctors, that this is my limit. Okay. And we have to know, and we have to convey that to the patient in the right manner as well. Having said that, I mean, essentially, because we're physicians, we also have to find solutions. But yes, it is very truly a mental game. And it is our responsibility to somehow change the path how this person is thinking.
And how are these aesthetic clinics different than the traditional salons? I mean, I'm trying to think. You've said somewhere that machines are only as good as the person or the hands which are driving them. I'm assuming these traditional clinics don't have those machines which maybe aesthetic clinics have. But is it the doctors? What is it which drives that an aesthetic clinic is better or worse or whatever from a traditional salon? I mean, is it the tech part to it, or is it just the way they're run?
It's a good question, okay? Now, traditionally, you have to know salons have always been a part of across the world in every woman's life, okay? Now, they ventured into further, aesthetics and things like that. But you have to know there is a science and an art to doing the things right, okay? And if a person who's just been doing, let us say, a salon procedure suddenly picks up a laser one day, okay, without adequate training and says, oh, I can treat everybody. Now, what will that person do? That particular person will look at the manufacturer's,
Guidelines or whatever.
the guidelines that are given, and they just do it in that manner.
And that happens.
And that happens, right? Now, when that person is just following the the manufacturer's guidelines, when you've not really diagnosed right, okay, so you don't know what the condition is, but you see some pigmentation, and every pigmentation is the same for that person, right? So you're treating that pigmentation in the same manner for everybody. But is that right? It is not. And that is where we can make a difference. So it is important, when you see a concern, you actually visit the doctor to actually diagnose it right and then do it right. And that's why it's the hand that makes a difference. I mean, people come to me sometimes having done the same laser 5 times with no result. And then, and I'm not boasting, I'm not boastful here, but I have to tell you that when I do it, there is a change that they see. But it is simply how you play around with the parameters, because you understand the diagnosis, or how you combine treatments right. So it's not really following the fad, and it's literally more like a, what we call bhed chal. One person is going there, let everybody go there. But, is that person doing the same thing for everybody? Are we diagnosing everybody in the same manner as well? So we have to stop back, do our research, and I would suggest, if you have a concern. And the other thing that I want to add here, though you're talking about, salons, but Snapchat and TikTok, okay? I had this girl who had acne. And she's a young 16, 17-year-old girl who's actually tried 300 procedures from TikTok, okay, of how she could get rid of the acne before she came to see me.
Wow.
So people would first go to the salon, but now people first try what's online, okay, see what's on social media, then try the salon. When nothing else works, then go to the
But
doctor.
that's the problem. Like, it's actually my next question, which is social media. There's a massive influence. A lot of that is stupidity in terms of what's going on. There are companies which are selling cheap products, right? And they they say it treats very well, etc. And people just get influenced by it and they buy it and they treat. Convenience is always there. It's cheaper. What do you like to? I mean, is it? How does a person distinguish कि ये सही भी है कि नहीं है in terms of social media? I mean, you today go to reels. That drives the world today.
That's
I
true.
mean, you see a reel. I mean, sometimes I see food on a reel and I say it's like great, and I go taste it and I'm like it's really ridiculous, right? And it happens a lot of times.
That's true.
So, and you did mention that Dubai is like an influencing capital. I mean, the
Yes.
influencers out here. So, what can you do? I mean, about it.
You know what? I'm so poor at social media. I have to tell you. Okay, I'm still that old school. Okay, but then
I
if
realized that
somebody-
seeing your social media before this interview.
So you have to know that, and this somebody mentioned to me, okay? And it really struck me. And that's when I started doing a little bit of social media, okay? That there's so much misinformation, okay? There's so much misinformation on the net, on social media, that people are following it left, right, and center. And where are this misinformation coming from? From lesser educated individuals,
They
right?
don't
Not all. But having said that, it's a two-edged sword, okay? There are some people really putting in very good content out there. Now, if this is driving it, if the right people don't put up content, okay, then people are still going to follow the wrong people, right? So somewhere it is our moral responsibility also to put in some right content there. But at the same time, when a lot of people follow a lot of influencers, okay, and I know that today the influencers have sometimes 1 million followers and things like that, and any product that they're using, everybody wants to use.
Correct.
Okay, so on an average, you won't believe people get me packages of products, like literally 10-12 products that they've bought because some or the other influencers using, and once they've tried
And they show
everything,
you.
and they show me, once they've tried everything and nothing has worked, is when they come to me. Okay, so you have to know, even influencers for that matter have a moral responsibility. So we all have a moral responsibility, and we can't shy away from it. That we put in the right content, and where what is not right, we say is not right. And I think that is important. And for consumers, don't just agree to everything. I mean, when you see a lot of reels, see who's really posting it. To, before you try and use that, at least ask the doctor whether that is right to use. So choose what you do correctly rather than just following it. And you said it about food as well. I mean, anybody puts in it's just smart marketing.
Marketing, beautiful camera work
That's it.
to make it look
And
nice.
and sometimes you go to the place and you say, what is this? But on the reel, it looked amazing,
Wow.
right?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
So I think we have to be smart
Yeah.
as well.
But the world is getting driven toward that only.
But
That's the problem.
humans are smarter than that, right? And AI is coming. Now, today, we can't even make out if that reel
Yeah, is
is
it real or not?
Or is it AI?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know if what I'm seeing is real. And how would we say it in the past? My parents have taught me, trust a person only when, you've met the person. So don't, I used to have pen pals, when we were younger, which is also true today. My parents taught me, don't just be friends with anybody you don't know, okay? When you've met the person, judge the person, then decide. Today we can't judge anything, right? Half our friends are on social media. Two, we don't even know it's AI or it's social media.
Yeah.
So I think humans have to get smarter. And as consumers, we have to be smarter. And sometimes I get lured to, I know I've bought a foundation stick or a little mascara because I saw some reel and I realized it was complete nonsense.
Yeah.
And then I stopped. So you make mistakes, but then you stop. Okay.
As long as it's not a big mistake, it's fine. I
Yes,
mean, doing
yes.
some.
Yes.
And let's talk about Botox for 1 second.
Yeah.
There's a lot of information, or even what we see on media is, when you put Botox, your face gets something like frozen, or, the smile goes, or, we know actors and actresses who use this. What is this is this misinformation, or is actually the truth? Because we see a lot of people going towards Botox now. Just make the lines go away.
It is complete misinformation. Botox is magical. Okay. And what is it? It's a tiny little product that relaxes the muscle, in layman terms. Okay. And it's been there for over 30 plus years. Okay. And if you look at how it was actually, it came into cosmetics. There's this lovely doctor called Dr. Jean Caruthers she's an oculoplastic surgeon. She was in, she's in Canada. And she was actually treating it for blepharospasm, right? So when you actually have, twitching of your eyes, okay? And also for squint. Okay, and when she was treating, these women would come back and say that, give me more because I wanted my lines to go away, and every time you treat me, my lines go away, and that's how it came into the cosmetic industry. Okay, but it basically is just a simple molecule that does that. Okay, but it is the hand that does it right or not. Okay. To the other thing is that it is used even in children. You know, it's approved for children for a whole lot of medical conditions like
Oh.
dystonias. So it's actually a therapeutic drug. Cosmetic industry is a very small part of it. Okay, so it is 100% safe. You just have to do it right. In fact, there was a recent.
What is right or wrong? Is just an injection you put it for a common man, I'm saying.
No, it is. There is a lot to it. There's how your muscles work. You have to understand the whole what we call anatomy, the muscles in the face before you inject it. You also know that it's used for excessive sweating. It's FDA approved for that. Yeah, for underarm excessive sweating. It's also approved in some countries for sweating on the palms and soles. Imagine how many people struggle and suffer with it. So it has a whole lot of indications, which is not only in the cosmetic industry, but in the entire medical
Medical
field.
field.
And if done right, and it is in the doctor's hands, it's the hand that makes the mistake. Okay, so there are no known, you can't get side effects with Botox if the doctor is doing it right, and the doctor has ruled out all the conditions where Botox should not be done. So it's not about freezing. If you do it right, your eyebrows move absolutely naturally, and nobody needs that frown. Why do you need the frown? I mean, some ladies come and tell me, no, I have to get angry at my kids. I said, one death stare to the kids is
It's
enough.
good enough.
You don't have to show your frown lines to actually be angry, right? So, and if you do it right, it actually prevents aging. So it is such a beautiful molecule that is used in various aspects. That all of this is just
Yeah,
complete
complete
misinformation.
misinformation.
Yes.
Yeah, reels again,
Yes.
obviously. What are other, like, say, the most common myth going around in the whole skincare, beauty, aesthetic field which you come across?
The recent myth I will tell you. Okay,
Okay.
this is not recent. It's been there for about a couple of months, but it's the fact that fillers migrate. Okay,
Fillers?
migrate.
What does that
Okay,
mean?
so there are hyaluronic acid fillers. Okay, and these fillers are, so essentially as we're aging, the bone structure is becoming smaller. Right, so it's essentially shrinking, and that is why the support on the whole fat pads and the skin is actually reducing, which is why we tend to see what we are seeing as we're aging. So hyaluronic acid essentially, when put in syringes, and you basically has to undergo some modification and then it's put in syringes, it's a natural part of the body, hyaluronic acid. So this is injected on inside the skin, sometimes on the bone, to actually support these areas. Okay, now in the last couple of months there's been a huge thing that if you do fillers it migrates all over, and if you do this then you have lifelong problems and things. It's utter misinformation and nonsense. I have so many people walking in every day into my clinic saying, doctor, do anything but fillers. But the point is that if you're looking unnatural, it's wrongly done work. Okay, fillers. I mean, tell me something, and this is from a friend. Okay, and I would like to tell you. Let us say you see a knife with blood, and somebody's being stabbed. Okay, who's to blame? Is it the knife?
No, of course not.
It's not the knife, right? It is the person who stabbed, right?
Correct.
It's exactly the same. So with any procedure, okay, and and that too with fillers, since we're talking about fillers, if you do it right, it's the person behind it. It's how that person is doing it. And all of these things, if done right, they're absolutely safe.
No, but there's a big problem what you're saying. Every statement you said, the person doing it is
Yes.
right or wrong.
Yes.
How does a normal person know? Let's say if I
Yeah.
were to go and get some treatment done, how would I know whether you are right or not right? I mean, so, no matter what, you are 20 years experience, there may be another person who's 20 plus experience. That's the maximum I can see that, okay, you are that experience, maybe some reviews here or there. So it's putting too much onus on the person getting treatment done, right?
So I'll tell you what, when I treat my patients, okay, it's important that I give them time to think. Okay. So let
You
us
will
say
not at the first level immediately ask them.
no, there are times that I do it at the same time if the patient agrees, but I give them time to think. Okay, I don't say this is how it is. I mean, let's do it now. Okay, or it's a sales push that the conversion has to happen now. It's nothing like that. So I give my patients time to think, and I tell them, listen, go back, do your reading about it. It's very important that you don't read reviews, okay, but read the science of what you're going to do, and then come and ask me questions. ask me questions, and then let's decide together. So it's a decision that the two of us take together. Okay. And so there are, I mean, you have to, there's always a sixth sense feeling in everyone.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And today you have
Sometimes
ChatGPT
yeah,
also to ask good
exactly.
questions with
Yeah,
to the
that's the
doctor.
other thing that's coming in, I have to tell you. But at the same time, when you go into a clinic or a particular space and you have huge amount of deals, okay, I first think that's a no. Okay. According to me, if you're getting something really cheap, ask yourself, why are you getting this really cheap? Okay, it's very, very important. Why are they doing so many deals to get in people? There's something that's there undertone there, right? So I would just say that before you decide on a procedure, do your do your recce on it and then decide on it. Yeah?
So you treat a lot of celebrities. Obviously, you don't talk about that. I understand why. Uh, you treat a lot of normal patients. Is there a difference how you treat both of them? I know you'll say no, but I'm just I'm just genuinely asking. But yeah, I mean because it's a celebrity, it's more mindset, right? It's natural. But would be a difference on how your treatment plan will go or how you will treat?
you know I know it sounds not completely right, but it is true. See, celebrities are also humans. When they're coming to a clinic like ours, they want to be treated normally. Okay? They don't want the whole world to know that they're celebrities. But there are few points that need to be taken care of that I kind of take care of as well. For example, they may not want to be seen, right? So the clinic may have to be blocked for that particular celebrity that day, so that nobody knows that they're coming. Okay, so but having said that, that confidentiality, even a normal person wants. But it's more so here because these people are in the limelight. Two, a lot of times, they have to be expressive on screen. Okay, so there are tiny nuances sometimes that they come with. Okay, which are sometimes you might think that it's, come on, yeah, it's not showing. But imagine when they're on the big screen,
Yeah, everything shows.
every little thing shows for them. So they are under huge pressure. So you have to really do
Because
things
that's their
in a
life.
subtle manner and do it right, so that it doesn't really change a lot of their expressions when they're on the big screen. And they're constantly photographed, and the worst ones will come out on media, right? So you have to really do it right. Sometimes they can't take downtime, so you have to also kind of do procedures that don't give them a lot of downtime, or choose when you can do that downtime. So you have to be a little sensitive about these things. But when they are getting treated, they really want to be treated. They have the same needs, they have the same nature as humans. You have to understand what they want and then do it right.
But somehow I've been reading a lot of when I was before this podcast. I was reading, googling as usual. A lot of celebs have come, especially in the US, have come and into media and said my this procedure went wrong, my lips went wrong. I went for fat loss. Something happened. I was reading. I went for fat freezing. This went wrong. Today the whole trend in India is Ozempic and Monjaro. Suddenly everyone's become thin. So I'm sure it's not the diet that suddenly it's just not possible, right?
Yeah.
Ki everyone cannot become thin at the same time. And they don't want to talk about it. But
Yeah.
while everyone knows this goes wrong. So how does that, I mean, why so many wrong things are happening? Or is it just there's celebs, it comes...
Okay, so I want to again tell you, every medical procedure, everything, even that little paracetamol that we take, has its risk. Okay, and you never read it because it's written in fine
Yeah,
little
yeah.
letters. But the fact is that every medical procedure, everything that you can take, including the water that you're drinking, you understand, everything can actually have a change in your body. But that doesn't happen for everybody. Okay, so these risks are there, and that's why when I told you about the informed decision, you have to inform the patient what can happen. And that's why most of the times it's very important to do things that are actually reversible. And there's this whole thing of permanency of things, right? That I want something permanent. But remember, permanent things are not reversible. Okay, you have to know this. So somewhere, what is very important is that when you treat a patient, you actually choose the right
So
treatments.
permanent is
But
actually not good then.
yes, permanent things are not
So it's
reversible,
better
right?
that I do something every three, four
Something
months
that's,
or
but it's like these temporary things have a permanency of effect, but they're not permanent. So it's like stacking one coin over the other, and you're slowly improving what you're improving. Like a tiny lip job gone wrong, right? It can be reversed and it can be treated completely. But if that lip job has been done with a permanent product, I cannot reverse it. I possibly have to surgically remove it.
Wow.
Right? So when it's again, so that's where things also go wrong. And I know this thing that came up with the fat freezing thing. Now millions of people have done fat freezing, right? Or what we call, cool sculpting. But having said that, it's very important to know that there's the percentage of people who get this
It's
is
very
very,
minute.
very tiny, and it can be handled out. Okay, it's not that it cannot be handled. The answer is liposuction, but it can be done, right? But the thing is that should you stop doing something? Should you stop taking paracetamol completely for any kind of pain because one person had a complication? And that's how medical science is. Medical science is always based on data, on whether the risk and the benefit, there's a risk benefit ratio to it, right? So, and that's why that informed decision has to be made. So for example, let us say if somebody gets an allergic reaction to a particular thing, if I know I can handle it, that's good, right?
As long as you can reverse
As
it or
long
treat
as
it.
you can reverse it or you can treat it. And that's how it is. And so it's, if somebody's got a complication with a particular, so it's again not to follow fads, right? Somebody tells you take all of these particular kind of drips that I'm getting cheaper, and people are getting this from different countries through the gray market.
And people are
Is
dying.
that the right thing to do? It is not. To save a little money, and then you spend in a very big restaurant and you throw a party, right? Can you not save that money to do what is right for your body? Essentially, that body is your is what
Of
you
course.
have, right? We come like this and we go like this, right? So I think it's again coming back to the same thing. Do your research and do the thing right. But if at all you have the complication, you know you are in a place which can handle it.
Which can handle it.
Yes. And we have such a beautiful connect with doctors all across the world. Like today, sitting in Dubai, if my patient is in Australia or if my patient is in the US or in Canada, I actually have a connect everywhere. So let us say this patient calls me with something, I actually know whom to connect
Correct.
with. And that's the whole idea. See, side effects can occur, but we should be able to really sort them out. And for that, we have to do it right. Right? We have to know, we have to put patient first, and we have to treat that right.
One moral question. I mean, I would say, or I would ask, why to go for these treatments only? Why can't people say that, stay neutral, age gracefully, embrace it? What's your thought process? Or is there a, I would say, do you see a balance between the two and not going extreme in any of the directions?
I think what you said at the end is right. There has to be a balance. Okay. Now, tell me, okay, a person, and this again, very early in life, this actually one of my doctors had told me, and it's so nice that you go to a movie hall, okay, and you have two 60-year-old women sitting, okay, one of whom is wearing a crumple sari, and the other one has ironed it, okay. Which one will you kind of appreciate? It's not that the one with crumple sari is bad, but that's what her outlook is. But if you can iron the sari, why not, right? So the whole idea is that there is a balance needed, okay? But if you really have treatments that can make you feel good and look good, but not go overboard with it. So if I'm 50, I don't want to look like 25, right? I want to be a decent 50 at that point of time. And that is what is important. And there's absolutely no harm. Just imagine, I have these women sometimes who are coming in at 65, 70 years of age.
Oh, that.
Okay. And they've only gone to salons in their life. And now that they've got free of their responsibilities, they finally come and say, I want to do treatments for myself. But why haven't you done it for all this while? Okay, the whole idea is that now there's only that much that I can do, right? But imagine the fight that is going on within them. I'm sure these women also wanted to treat themselves for years together, but they actually didn't do it for whatever reason. And now when they're free of responsibilities, they want to do it. So I again want to say, it is a beautiful field. And if you treat right, you can really work on certain aspects that will make you feel more confident. That will make you look more approachable. That will actually make you feel good about yourself. Okay? But again, there is a limit to it.
But the problem, is there's so much of misinformation. I'll give you a small example. I was reading somewhere, sunscreen is very important for you. Great. Everyone should put sunscreen every day. Right? Then you read somewhere, sunscreen is really bad for your skin and it is cancerous. I think so. I don't know if you've read that or not, but I don't know if you've read the normal social media and all. Now, for a normal person, what you search is what you get.
Yeah.
Right now, if I search sunscreen is good for you, it'll only give me sunscreen is good for you. The same statement I say sunscreen is bad for you, it only gives bad for me. Now, what does a normal person say? And the question is also, is sunscreen bad for you or not? That's also a question.
Absolutely not. The UV light exposure is far, far worse than what any sunscreen can do. Okay.
So it's good for you.
It's absolutely
So just
good for
imagine
you.
how much in social media today we have sunscreen is extremely bad for you.
And that's what it is, right? So again, we have to know what to believe in social media and do some digging. See, again, we're all very superficial these days. We only read
Headlines.
the headlines and we don't go into what is again the research done. So if you have such a question, pop it to your dermatologist, right? Rather than deciding on yourself that I should not use this, right? Yeah.
How are the regulations in Dubai or UAE? I was reading, there was an incident recently. An incident when I was reading, it came into mind. I knew someone from far who did liposuction and died, right? And you read these. So how are the regulations? Is there irregulated market here, or the government is obviously cracking down quite strongly in it? What are your views? That it should be definitely highly regulated, right?
It is a highly regulated market.
It is already highly
It is a
regulated.
highly regulated market, but you have to know there are unregulated people everywhere, and the government is trying hard to crack. The Dubai Health Authority really works hard to crack on these people. But you know what? There are people sitting in sometimes their houses doing it. People going to different houses doing it. There are these people who come in from abroad and go to different places and treat as well. So again, as an individual, I have to decide. Okay, when I'm getting myself treated. So yes, it is the person who's injected or done wrong, that's the fault. But I've also done it, right, to save a little money, isn't it? So again, the clinic that you're going to, if somebody is offering you a higher amount and somebody is offering you half the amount, ask yourself, why is this person giving me half the amount, right? So I think we have to pick and choose, right? And I would say one thing: if you don't have the money, don't do it. Okay,
Better do it
better to save the money and do it right, rather than do it with half the money at that point of time. Because I don't think your face and your body you carry for a long, long time. So it's important you do it right.
What are the most shocking positive and negative effects you've seen? You've seen happened with the treatment, negative and positive.
Positive is amazing, okay? It is far,
Positive, you
far
mentioned in an
more
example.
positive,
For me,
yes.
it was like the example we talked in the beginning.
Yes.
That's like a mind-blowing positive that you actually changed a person's life.
100%. So there are so many positives that without question, right? There are also negatives.
Yes.
So
One
again,
negative, real negative you've seen, or a treatment gone wrong you've seen.
unnatural faces. I mean, when sometimes you walk on the roads, you see a completely unnatural face where you see an overfilled face where you have very big cheeks, very big lips that really don't match with each other. And essentially, when we are treating the face, I mean, we have to treat the face like a whole, not look at isolated lips or isolated nose or isolated cheeks as well. So I think the biggest thing that we have to get, and it's thankfully reducing, people are actually going towards treatments that give them the natural result, but yet there are some physicians as well as some non-physicians as well as the layman that are actually consumers that do unnatural things.
Technology is big time coming in this field. So much. One is technology, AI. Second is the machines. I mean, if you again going to reels, I go to reels. There's some new machine which comes, which makes you lose weight, which makes you look great, and after 3 months you see another better machine comes, which makes you. How do you evaluate this? And what do you do?
I have to tell you one thing about reels, and we all know this. Social media follows us. We don't follow social media.
I
they
come back
follow
to reels
us.
because eventually most of the world is getting.
That is true. And you look at one laser first. The reels will feed you with more and more
Of
laser
course,
sessions.
that's the problem.
So you keep seeing it,
keep
right?
seeing it.
And then it kind of sits in your brain that this is what I need. But that's not really the truth. And there are lots of technologies coming, and we have to know, again, there's a good side to it and there's a bad side to it. So there's, of course, smart marketing. So every new technology that comes in, and let us say it's been done by a famous celebrity, and I wouldn't take the name, it's suddenly very famous. But really speaking, is it really different from an existing technology? It possibly is not. So I think what we really have to understand is not follow the name of the technology, okay, or follow the name of the machine, because that is essentially marketing, okay? But what we really need to understand, and go and ask your doctor if needed, is how is this technology different? And a lot of technologies really do the same thing.
Same thing.
Yeah, so you have to choose, and I can't buy a laser every month.
Yeah.
Right? I can't buy a technology every month. But if there's a differentiator, and I do think that this can add in value, is when I actually deep dive into it, research it, test it out completely, test it on the populations that I treat. And then if I see a difference, then I buy it.
Few quick one-word answers.
Okay.
One skincare product you cannot live without.
Sunscreen.
Wow.
I hope that answers your question. You must use that's something that I use every day on my skin.
Biggest skincare mistake people make.
Watching reels. and using every product.
Every product.
And like I said, I have young girls. Sorry, I know this is a rapid fire, but I'm going to tell you quickly. I have young 9-10-year-old girls getting 12 products that they've actually bought from, famous brands. And imagine if we start so early, we are raising a generation that is just uncomfortable in their own skin.
Yeah. Favorite procedure you perform?
Has to be injectables.
Celeb skin, one celeb, Bollywood, Hollywood you admire.
That's a tough one. I think I admire a lot of people. Bollywood, I think she's young, but Alia Bhatt. I really like her skin
Natural
quality.
look.
Yeah. And she's very natural. That's right. I mean, see, everybody has to, with that high pressure job, I'm sure everybody is doing something to improve themselves. But essentially, you perceive them as natural. And that's the beauty of it. If we look at Hollywood, maybe Halle Berry. I like how she looks and how she's kind of aged as well. She's still young, okay? Nobody ages. We don't age.
Fill in the blank. True beauty is
personal to yourself.
one skincare trend you would love it disappears.
One skincare trend that I would love would disappear is, I think, self-injecting yourself.
Oh, ऐसा भी होता है?
Yes.
Oh God.
So again, if I'd like to just say a few words here, I see a lot of doctors also self-injecting themselves on social media. Okay. And imagine we're showing that to a whole lot of followers. So people think that they can do it themselves. And people who can't buy actually pick up products from the pharmacies and put it in a syringe and then self-inject themselves. So I really think, one, doctors would stop doing it. And even if they're doing it, stop putting it on social media. I apologize to all the doctors who I've seen doing. But also the consumers to stop following it.
One treatment everyone should try once.
I think the easiest thing to start off with that actually really, really impacts the skin is called photorejuvenation. It's actually done with different kinds of lasers, but it essentially is raising the temperatures of the deeper layers of their skin to stimulate collagen. So it can naturally actually have a preventive effect, and it's completely non-invasive. So you go out looking completely normal. So there's no downtime.
No injection, nothing. Just
Absolutely nothing. So that's something that I think should be started early. So as a preventive aspect, rather than go in for these, of course facials are good, but facials have a feel-good factor to themselves, right?
More than
and they
actually.
can do only that much. So I think prejuvenation is far more than that.
One last question.
Okay.
One transformative message, I think so, which you would like to leave behind to any person, whether they're considering going for skin or whatever or not. I mean, one transformative message.
Okay, that's a tough one again. One thing I would like to say for anybody who's considering any treatment, consider it. Okay? If it is in your mind, go and meet the right person and ask the right questions. Don't follow fads. Okay? Don't follow everything that you see on social media or you see your friend doing. It may not be right with you. Choose the right path, go to the right specialist, and choose your treatment right. And be you. Personalize it to you.
Great. Dr. Mansi, thank you so much for being here. It was an absolute pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Suraj. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you.